Good evening, everyone, and thanks for coming. Couple of things noteworthy of mentioning. Nassau County has started working on the sidewalks and the curbs. I'm sure many of you have seen it. I've seen pictures as well. I'm not here during the day, but that process has begun. I'm hoping that the moment we have the asphalt um, plants open, they start milling and filling. We are actually working with um, landscapers for the median, and hopefully we're going to have a beautiful median soon, as well as new lights on Middle Neck Road. Did they finish their wiring of the medians or not yet? No, but they have started. They're working on it. Okay, so that is going on simultaneously with Nassau County. That said, we can start the meeting if there's.
Good evening, Mayor. The first item on the agenda is the Department of Public Work, February 22, 2022 report.
And the only thing that I have to say is with Middle Neck Road is that they removed those pedestrian signs that were by Everfresh.
You have them.
Well, they, they were told to store them, I guess the county told them to store them, but they, yes, they are at the yard.
You right, right. Okay.
Yeah, I don't have them, they put them with their stuff up at the yard.
Our yard.
Priscillico, yeah, at our yard, yep.
Okay.
Um, I was thinking that once they finish doing what they're doing, maybe we should put them up by the,
School.
by the, I was thinking Middle Neck Road by Rainbow there.
I think
Also
so.
an unsignalized crosswalk there by the park, and, the people from the senior housing, cross.
I know that they are going to put few of them. They were asked and they agreed to put few of them. I'm going to hold off on the locations until they're done with milling and filling and doing the whole thing. Also,
Do you want me to take them
It's
from
not
where
mill and
they?
fill.
what?
It's not mill and fill.
It's mill and just
No,
well, they're doing the whole thing.
Yeah.
Well,
Do
it's not
do
fill.
you want me to take the signs from where they have them in the front there, because they're kinda just laying in the front there?
Which
Put
sign?
them inside the garage?
They have which signs they have there? Just the pedestrian sign, the
Yeah.
flashing lights.
Yeah, our pedestrian signs. the
Yeah,
flashing
I think we
lights.
should take them for now. I don't want them to.
Before something happens, or they disappear, or they
Right.
break, or.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the things we wanted to mention, we did get the grant, right, for the radars.
It's on today's agenda.
So those things are going to be placed also. So I think they're going to have a bunch of things done the moment they're done with the Middle Neck Road.
And then also too, once they finish all that, we have to reinstall all of the, no U-turn signs.
Right. Well. Right. Okay. Yeah, there are a lot of things we have to do. I'm hoping that it happens quickly. Okay.
The next item on the agenda is the Building Department, February 2022 report. Mr. Haramis?
So a friendly reminder, I just want to remind everybody, please change your batteries in your smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors. Clocks were moved forward for daylight savings time this past weekend, and that's when batteries should have been replaced. So that's just a friendly reminder. Please do that. Building Department received 34 applications. We collected fees of $58,607.50. We issued 41 building permits, 78 inspections were done, 46 complaints, 40 notice of violations were sent, 21 summonses were issued. There's a building permit breakdown, as you can see. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you.
The next item is a request for approval of the updated plans for 240-250 Middle Neck Road.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the board. My name is Paul Bloom.
Is that on?
I know, you always keep me quiet. Paul Bloom, 445, Harris Bloom and Archer, 445 Broad Hollow Road, Melville, New York, appearing on behalf of North Shore Millbrook LLC. Property is located at 240-50 Middle Neck Road. It's in a E-residence zone, multifamily zone. Section 2, Block 354, Lot 138. We are seeking this evening an amendment of our building permit, which was issued by the building department, actually a building and a demolition permit, number 13872. This is not a new application for a new building or a application for something which has not been previously approved. It is a modification and amendment. We had a similar modification and amendment that was made by this board at a request in 2019. We're back again as a result of both the delay that was caused not by this village, but unfortunately by the county, and also the interruption of COVID-19 with respect to proceeding. We are now ready to proceed with this project. And once this amendment that we are seeking this evening is granted, I've been told that work will begin on the site within the next handful of weeks in the springtime. From what I understand, and the client is here this evening, if I make a mistake, I'm sure he'll stand up and throw some spitballs at me, but the fact is that I believe that there will be cleaning or clearing of some of the property. As you know, the plan originally required that we put in a circular roadway, one which connects from one driveway to the other. That was one of the benefits of the application, in that right now there are two curb cut, one in the north, one in the south. They do not connect in the property itself, which had two-way traffic coming out of both of those driveways. The new plan, which was approved by this board in 2018, modified that by making this a loop so that we have one way in, one way out, and all vehicles go around the back of the property. So the cutting in of that roadway, the cleaning of the area, there will be some tree removal, a lot of grub and scrub planting in here. Also, as part of the beginnings work, there will be any abatement that is required and was also required by the resolution of this board. So I believe that very shortly we will see activity on this site. The original resolution granted by this board was in August of 2018. As I indicated, there was an amendment in July of 2019. The approvals that we received from this board are under maximum density. And though we are considered to be incentive zoning, the incentive came in the form of a fourth floor on two of the buildings that were originally approved, and also height of the structure.
So just for clarification, they are in excess of the base building code, but not in excess of the incentive limitations of the code.
Thank you very much. Yes, that is absolutely correct. But in notwithstanding the fact that the number of stories and also the height of the building was granted waivers and incentives by this board, the number of units, the density of this project is under the maximum density. And that was noted in the resolution. We received waivers and incentives as it relates to the number of stories, as it relates to height, and as it relates to parking. There has been no change from then nor tonight as we asked for this modification. No change whatsoever in the total number of units. They are exactly the same. They are still under density. There's no change, as this board is well aware. This is a rent-stabilized project and controlled by the state under the state rental laws. There's no change in the stabilized units that we had before, nor after the modification that we're asking for this evening, if it is granted. There is no change in the mix of units from the original approval to what we are asking for this evening. And in fact, not only is there no change in terms of seeking a greater waiver for parking, we are actually adding back more parking stalls to the site, more than was granted by way of a waiver before. Uh, the number of parking stalls that we are adding by this amendment would be 26 parking stalls to the site. This amendment, which we believe is a minor modification, is a reconfiguration of the buildings. It has nothing to do with the curb cuts. It has nothing to do whatsoever with Middle Neck Road. It has very little to do other than with where a building, not where a building, but how a building is going to appear before and after. So it is a building configuration. We are moving apartment units that we were approved from one area to another area within the site. The facade and the architecture of the building, because of the modifications, will require this board to grant both facade approval and architectural approval. All of those changes with respect to facade and those changes as it relates to architecture relate solely to those original units that are going to remain on the site. So there is no change in the architecture, there is no change in the materials, etc., facade as it relates to the two new four-story buildings that are shown here in the left and to the extreme right.
So you're saying that you're going to change the facade of the units that were not going to be touched in the previous presentation. Now you're going to modify those units to match the facade of what was approved in the previous approval.
I wish I said it as clearly as you did. Thank you.
I know, but I just want to make sure
Okay,
that everyone's
and
clear.
so here we have, as you can see, the original units have their peaked roofs, have a brick facade, which is exactly what they have today. And if you go to the proposed, you're going to see that the materials and the roof is now similar to that which is, if you could do the isometric, there you go. As you can see, the materials on the existing units have now changed to the same material which is going to be on the four-story buildings. It's a clad, what do you call it?
EFIS material, stucco material with
Okay, I'm going to let the architect discuss that,
So
and
are
we have.
are we adding any floors to the two floors, or it's still going to be two floors on
No.
the area?
And that's where the change is. The original approval maintained the existing buildings, had two four-story buildings, the south building and the north building. Those were 4 stories. And in the center in the back, there was a 3-story building, which also had a roof amenity, a swimming pool on the roof, a roof deck. What we've done is, because of our concern about light and air, especially for the units that are to the west, those are the ones in the back, we now took the 3-story building and we reduced it down to 1 story with the amenity on on the roof of that 1 story. So we lost the apartments that we would have had in the 2nd and 3rd floor of what was the 3-story building. And we've taken those units and we've dispersed them as a 3-story element on the existing units. Not increasing the number of units, not increasing the room count. And so the other day, and
So
I
every
guess
2 stories is going to be 3-story
it's
now?
going to be 3 stories.
Every 2 stories is going to be 3-story.
Every 2 is going to be 3.
Except the 3 that became a 1.
Except the 3 that became a 1. And also, let's go into the benefits of it. Now that we have this proposal, If in fact you had an apartment in the two-story original building, it's 2 units on the bottom, 2 units on the top. How do you get to the top? You have to walk up the stairs. The 3- and 4-story buildings are all have elevators. Now, with this proposal, every single unit, including the now revised planned units of the original, will have elevators. Everything will be accessible, handicap accessible, and also accessible not only to the first, second, and third floor by elevator, but those elevators go down where the parking is. And so you can go from your apartment to the garages without having to go outside. One of the failures of the original plan in terms of human relations, so to speak, is that one, you had stairs to walk up. Now, that would be fine if, in fact, we were still back in 1948 when this was built. That was acceptable. Right now, what we're trying to do is make these. Right now, what we're trying to do is bring this up to the 21st century. And so we're not only providing elevators for every single unit in this entire project now, we're also providing people the ability to go out of their apartment into the elevator and down to the basement area where the parking is so that they can get to their cars.
What happens to people who are already there?
These are going to be built on top of them, and the logistics I will leave to the architects. I have enough making presentations, let alone figuring out those kinds of things. And so, just for the record again, we are making reference this evening to the modifications, you're seeing them on the screen, to the Newman Design plans that are dated 2/12/18 with a last revision date of 2/17/22. And so the record should be clear as to which plans we are asking this board for approval. A building permit, demolition permit has been issued. The existing building, as we speak today, before any work is done, are 119 units. We received permission from this board to demolish 34 of those units. All those units, by the way, are now vacated. There is not one tenant in any of those units to be demolished. We're going to demolish 34, which leaves us a net of 85 units. We are adding 101 units for a total of 186 units. We are, as I said, below density. Now, I'm going to make.
Not it to the previous approval.
Excuse me?
The number of units is not increased.
Not increased.
And again, just to be clear, you have a building permit based upon the prior approval.
That is correct.
There is currently a denial letter for the amended plans. However, part of that denial relates to the need for approval by this board of the change of the incentives, et cetera, that were granted under the prior resolutions.
That is correct, and that includes height, because we no longer, based upon the original plans, need an approval for a 3-story building when we're going to build a 1-story building. The units which we were talking about, the original units which are going from 2 to 3 stories, are going to be somewhat higher than what they are today. So if you measure the height of those buildings with the peaked roofs, the height to the roof deck is somewhat less than the height of the peaked roof. That being said, it is still greater in height than the code permits, and therefore what we are asking for is permission, and by the way, it's still lower than the maximum height, even the height without any incentive.
Paul, if I could try to restate that too. Again, I just want to have the record clear. The height grants, the height adjustment grants that were previously granted are not going to be exceeded, but they are going to be applied to different buildings.
Exactly. Exactly. Thank you. Uh, And so, again, we're talking about the number of units, we're talking about the number of bedrooms, we're talking about stabilized units. Everything stays the same.
So just another question I have, or a comment just to make sure that everybody understands. This area, the zoning allows 3 stories
Correct.
as of right.
As of right.
The fourth story is an incentive just for the height and the fourth floor. Um, and the height that is being proposed by these 3 stories are within the code without any incentive or variances.
No. The height at 3 stories, you're permitted 3 stories, but the absolute height exceeds the height that is permitted under the code for a 3-story building.
Okay.
Now, a lot of that has to do with the undulation of the land. This property is not totally flat. And there's also areas on the property where you have garages under. For instance, all at the bottom of the screen right now, you're looking at the plan. You're looking at, I believe that is the buildings which are in the western portion of the property. There are right now garages underneath that structure. And so when you take your average grade, you've got a building now which has exposure in the back because you've got garages under it, and when you take your height average around the building, it gets skewed by the fact that there is a significantly lower grade behind the building itself. So what we are asking for is something which is less than the incentive would permit us to have, but
more than
what is.
And it's less than what is currently there.
And it's about a foot plus or minus less than to the peak of the roof, not to the.
That western building, the one that's proposed.
Yes.
The current one is 2 stories?
Yes.
Yes.
And
Everything's going to be 3 stories,
So
no
the,
more 2
the
stories.
proposed, okay, because I'm looking at the current one, or the original proposal. So the building that was in front of that western one was 3, is becoming 1.
One.
And the one behind of it was 2 and is becoming 3.
Exactly. And again, this was something that I think might have been somewhat of an oversight in terms of planning. That 3-story building at that location, when you're looking at light, air, etc., really had somewhat of a negative impact on the buildings immediately behind it. By bringing it down to 1 story, it opens up that entire area, and the light, the air, etc., makes those units, which runs along the western property line of the property, much more desirable. And what we're looking to do here, and understand, I think I've said this maybe 17 times during the numerous hearings we've had, the owner of this property has been the owner since approximately 1948, 1949. These are long-term holders. These are not people who are buying, selling, flipping. They have a relationship with this property for close to 70 years. And what they want to do is have a relationship with this property for at least the next 70 years. And what they're looking to do is to have a property which has value to them, and value to the people who are going to reside there. The fact that we are rent stabilized for the units that are there now is probably going to run maybe for the next 70 years. As you're aware that there are strict rent regulations that are imposed by the state, and it is not an easy situation for a unit to quote unquote lose its rent stabilized situation. I will also throw in one other thing. In the resolution, the original resolution acknowledges that we are under density with respect to the Long Island workforce housing. And therefore, originally there was no intention of providing any affordable housing under the Long Island workforce housing, and there was no legal obligation for us to do that. Our current plan intends to have, and basically on a voluntary basis, 7 workforce housing as if it were subject to the Long Island Workforce Housing Act. So not only do you have rent-stabilized units here, we're also adding affordable housing units under Long Island Workforce Housing.
Paul, is that representation a part of the application, a condition of?
That is absolutely part of the application and the representation.
Okay. The board may also wish to be aware that if an entirely new plan were being submitted and characterized as an amendment, and it was really, in fact, a very substantial amendment, then I would advise this board that the project needed to go back to the Nassau County Planning Commission. On the other hand, if the amendment is relatively non-material, then I don't think that that would be a requirement. The applicant's representations about what is going to be the same and what is going to be changed were made also to the building department. It is my understanding that the building superintendent is advising you that this is a non-material alteration, though that is a judgment call. That being so, if we're not sending it back to the County Planning Commission, the board would be free to make its decision tonight if it so chose. Am I correct, Mr. Haramis?
Yes, because the number of units has not changed, and because the one building is dropping its height, and the two front buildings are gonna go up in height, there's no negative impact.
I would also add to that, and I thank you, Mr. Haramis. I would also add to that the fact that there is no change that would have any impact with respect to review by the county. We're not changing curb cuts. We're not changing traffic flow. We are not changing density on the site. In effect, my client's going to kill me. We're moving the chairs on the Titanic, okay? We're taking it from this place and we're putting it. But we hope it's not the Titanic. But the fact is, we're moving it from one place to another.
Could we go to Queen Mary?
We could go to the Queen Mary. That's all really what's happening. We're taking.
But in fact, you're adding 26 more parking spots.
Yes, we are.
Which has been a concern of our residents.
I think one of the things that we need to, again, mention.
Microphone there?
Is it, I thought it's on. It is on. Yeah? That even though there's substantial parking waiver given, I do believe that most people in that area can walk to the station, and also no one really can park in the streets. There's no street parking in that area, is there? And at night parking?
On that side of the street.
Yeah, Miss. Yeah. Yeah, Miss.
3 to 6? There's no parking restriction. Because of the 2 apartment buildings. It's the way it is now, right.
By the way, the number of parking stalls that we are proposing now, even with the increase, exceeds the number of parking stalls that are there today. Now, yes, we do have more units, but the fact is that the ratio of units to parking is still a better ratio now than it is today with respect to the availability of parking.
What's the total number of spots?
Total,
73, I think they said.
yes. I think
273 is proposed.
we're increasing it to 273. Originally,
And what's the number of the units that is being produced?
186. Originally, this board granted us a waiver, and we were permitted to have, with the waiver, 279 parking stalls. When we came in for the modification, at that point, we were having some difficulty with respect to trying to figure out how that was going to happen, notwithstanding the plans, and you granted a further waiver so that we would be able to have 247 parking stalls. This application increases the number of parking stalls virtually to where it was originally when approved at 273. So we're in effect going back to the original parking. But Mr. Mayor, I think you brought up a very good point. Yes, technically we are not transportation oriented because we're a little further than in distance from the train station than that word would or those words would describe. But this board, as part of its original approval, and we're not asking for any modification of that, required us to have a shuttle bus which will run from this location to the station and back. We've entered into a shuttle bus agreement with the village, I think back in 2019, and I believe that the village has executed that agreement as well. And so that's a binding agreement, and we're not walking away from that. We believe that under all the circumstances, not only are we providing more than sufficient parking on site, but that with the shuttle bus, which I know that the mayor originally thought that this would be a bellwether for other projects that are along Middle Neck Road, will provide that additional benefit to the residents of the building.
Peter, we have the shuttle bus agreement.
I don't have it with me right now, but I know that the approval of that shuttle bus agreement was previously authorized by this board.
I remember
I don't
that
have
also.
a
I just wanna make
countersigned
sure that
copy
it's
in my
part of-
possession tonight.
I'm
but-
just hoping that that's going to be part of the new approval as well.
Yes, what we're doing here is including the representations of the applicant at tonight's meeting will become part of the record and incorporated into the resolution of approval.
Good. Thank you.
Well, I will say that you have that agreement signed by us.
No, that I know, but I'm just saying
you've got
this
us.
it was a long time ago, and this is a new presentation. I just want to make sure that those are still binding.
Now, with respect to the facade and the materials, etc., I'm going to ask somebody who has much more experience and knowledge to make that presentation to the board. Rob?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, Board Trustee members. My name is Robert Treasure from Newman Design Architectural Office. I'm here to present the facades of the buildings. In simple terms, they're very similar to the previous designs. The same materials will be used as an EFIS system on the exterior, which is like a stucco insulated system, which will be added to the existing buildings, similarly to what the new proposed north and south buildings were and the west building. So the materials in that sense are the same. The aluminum panels that worked around the north and south buildings will be incorporated in the same architectural elements to the existing buildings on the third story and the front entrances to these buildings. So, and also the windows, similar, they're all going to match in that architectural fashion. The roof lines are also a similarity where we have flat roofs or lightly sloped roofs, as opposed to having the previous plans or the existing buildings where we had peaked roofs, where the architecture is juxtaposed to the new contemporary look of the new buildings. So it all harmonizes now with the site all in once.
I think we have some more renderings that you might be able to see the appearance of these structures.
So as you can
describe what they're looking at here?
So what you see here is a new, we'll call it elevator stair core that's added to these existing buildings to have access, like Mr. Bloom was speaking before. Handicap access is accessibility that was not in these existing buildings as we speak. So these are contemporary style, similar to the other buildings where it projects out, and you will enter the lobby space where there'll be an elevator right next to you and a staircase that would lead you up to the other floors. So this glass represents similarities to the north and south buildings around for the other new buildings.
So the staircases that are currently there are going to be taken away. New stairs are going to put in.
That's correct.
So what's going to happen in that? So I still have this question: what's going to happen to people that are there? Because
So
there's still
we
people
are
there.
we are working closely with the developers and a site safety team that we have developed plans to have phasing of temporary egress and ingress into the buildings while they construct these new entrances, these new cores in the front of the buildings.
So people stay in where they are, and the building is being built around them. That's what happens. Or
Correct.
they have to be moved out and moved back in.
Some instances they will be moved out and moved back in, but for the most part working with the state code, and we'll work with the village, of course, and other consultants that we hired for site safety to embark on this to make sure that everyone's safe. So,
Well, I mean, it's one thing is safety. The other question I have is because now that you're actually building on top of these 2 stories, um, the the effect is going to have on their life and what's going to happen to them as far as their daily routine stuff. I mean, I don't know if they can stay there, or let's say when you're working on this side, you tell everybody, okay, move to this building, and then we're going to move from here, then move back to your building. Is that what's going to happen, or it's going
yeah,
to be?
I'll have,
Identify yourself.
Sure, Jason Schlesinger, North Shore Millbrook. Thank you. There's in any construction, in any major renovation, there will be times of some inconvenience for sure. Um, but as Rob was saying, we have hired safety consultants, code consultants, experts who have advised us on how to phase this project so that the inconvenience can be limited and the safety is there in every step. Um, Again, it wouldn't be accurate to say there won't be inconveniences because
I'm
there's
not
going to.
worried about inconvenience. I just want to know what happens to those people. So they stay.
Oh yeah,
put
they
in where
stay. They stay
are.
there. Yeah, yeah. I mean, listen, there'll be a day when when a resident will get a notice and say, "Look, we're changing the electric over that day, or we're changing the plumbing or the heating."
Those things I get.
Right.
I just want to know what's the disruption. Is it going to be that, hey, move your stuff out?
No,
We'll come back in a month.
no, no,
Right.
absolutely not.
That's
It
what
was. It was the direction was clear to all of our consultants that we would not be asking that of any resident who lived there. We will set up hospitality suites so that if someone is working at home that day and they don't like the sound of the construction, they can go to another location with Wi-Fi and couches and tables, etc. Um, so that they can get away from that kind of disturbance. But people will not be asked to relocate, like that example.
And what happens? So you're putting the staircase on the outside. I mean, just out of curiosity, right? That
The elevator.
go back the elevator and the staircase, right? Or just an elevator?
it's an elevator and staircase,
Yeah.
and it's coincided with where the existing stairs are today. They just protrude out a little further, like.
So what
in
happens
addition.
to the staircase that is inside the building?
Yeah, I'll just address that. It gets renovated. There is going to be a temporary egress for while we work on anything that's existing within the building. The elevators will be built separate and away from all of the residents. They will not have any access or be really permitted for safety reasons to even come close to it. Every precaution, and again, I've hired teams of consultants who know how to do this type of thing, and because I figured there would be a day when Mr. Haramis would say, "Okay, show me how you're going to do it," and it'll be well thought out, and so existing residents will be kept away from construction.
Anything's going to happen to the inside of the building, inside of these apartments? Are they being renovated in any shape or form, or not really?
Yes, the existing apartments.
Existing apartments.
Yeah, the existing apartments will receive a new electric service. So today it's 40 amps and fuses, and which is archaic, and they will be brought up to 120 amps and circuit breakers. They are receiving new HVAC, which is an electric VRF system, which is the most efficient and modern systems there are, which is heat and air conditioning. There will be sprinklers installed throughout the building, obviously for life safety purposes. And as Rob was saying, the elevators will allow ADA access to every apartment throughout the project.
I mean, it definitely looks like this is going to change it for much better. Um, my questions are not to, in any shape, to say that it's the wrong thing to do. It's just very interesting for me to find out, and also these are the questions that many people have asked.
Sure.
What's going to happen? Are we going to be asked to leave? Are we going to be able to live here? Are we going to continue? This is going to disrupt our lives, and I think I want them to hear exactly from you how this is going to be. I'm sure there's going to be more information that is going to be passed along, pamphlets and.
Well, we'll have, and as we've discussed over the time, we will have meetings with the residents to discuss the phasing, and so that everyone is clear about how we're going to get from here to there and how it impacts them. And we have project managers who will have they'll have a direct line to, and it's not an easy project. It's not a virgin field that we're building a brand new stick frame building in, but it's taken time, and COVID certainly had an impact. But we know our obligation to over communicate.
Okay.
How many residents will be living there during construction?
Today we are at about 60% occupancy, and the number of rent stabilized apartments, as Paul said, has not changed and really will not change. There's no ability to bring apartments out of rent stabilization anymore. That's been changed. So, assuming that the people who live there today stay, it's everyone
No,
who's.
but he wants to know the number of families that are.
I don't have the exact number, but it's about okay. It's about. Pardon me.
60. How many units?
Yeah,
are
it's
there?
well, it's 119, and say that there are
70
there are
units.
70 units that are still occupied, and then we see people coming, going, and taking the winters away. It's a variety of circumstances. And also one other point that we also committed to some time ago that I'll just in terms of how people will live there in the future is that existing residents, if they have a parking space or if they have a garage, in the new buildings, if their garage was removed or taken away, they will be offered a garage parking space at the same rate that they were paying, which is today. So there will be no you were paying $20 before, you're paying $100 after. It'll be the same rate.
And also, you mentioned, Paul, that there will be automated parking.
Yes.
Do you have any presentation of how this is going to work?
Frankly, I do.
That's good.
I'll keep one, and you can have the rest. How's that?
Is there a website that you can put up on the screen?
Yes, we do. And if you can access the internet and
Abraham, are you casting? Or
it's their website is parkplus parkplus.com.
I think parkplusinc.com.
No. I don't think that's in their web address for presentation. Is that what it says?
Parkplusinc.com.
Okay.
Maybe not? What? Yeah, we'll find it.
They're going to be there are a number of different types of systems that are associated with this particular company. There's fully automated, and then there is also partially automated. And you're not seeing the same thing I saw when I pulled it up on my computer. So
Just go to their website.
yeah. There you go. Okay, so if you go to products, and two of the types of products, if you go to the first line, automated parking on the right, if you click on that, you will take a look and see how cars disappear.
It's the one on the bottom.
There is a video there.
So this is the fully automated one?
That's correct.
Do you have the audio?
That's a 3.
Yes.
You come in, you put your car in there, you press your code number, and the car disappears. You want it back, you press your code number, and the car appears.
Magic.
How long does that take?
3 minutes.
It takes 3 minutes for the
3
car.
minutes for you once you call for the car for it to come back.
Are there going to be multiple systems? like this?
There's going to be systems in two different garages. And so, yes, they're slightly different. The other is a semi-automated.
I'm just wondering if 10 people come down at once for their.
Right, so it's 3
These
units of
seem to
15.
work. There are a number of these systems specifically in the city right now, which are as public parking lots. And you know how testy people can be waiting for their car. This seems to be much more efficient than somebody running, trying to get your car, find out where it is,
Moving 7 cars to get it out.
7 cars to get it out, etc. Now, I also understand, and I don't think you see it here, but I think there's also a snow removal or some sort of system when the car goes in, it cleans the bottom of the car so that it's not tracking whatever, wherever.
So how is this saving space?
Because they stack them.
I don't see any stacking here. This is all flat.
No, they show it.
No, here I see over there is stacked. That's what I see in the city, but this one doesn't look that they're stacked.
They are stacked.
They are stacked?
Yes.
Yeah, this is just one example.
Yeah, Paul, can I just
Yeah,
address
sure.
that? So just to the, we wouldn't want to build a system that people had to wait an unreasonable amount of time, because you'd quickly get a reputation that don't live in that building, right? So there are 27 apartments in the south building, and there are 32 cars that the system holds. The system is double stacked, and it's 60 feet wide, so you have 20 for the aisle, 20 for a car, 20 for the aisle, and 20 for the next car, and they're stacked on each other. And it's as efficient as they can make it. You know, the pandemic and the supply chain train issues are causing havoc with just getting these systems, creating it. The prices are skyrocketing. We're doing this because it saves space, and it's it's a contemporary solution to an age-old problem.
You don't need a valet,
No,
so it's just all automated.
it's all automated. That's right, and then there's of course a generator backup. So if the power goes out, you can get your car.
And these systems are also monitored 24 hours by the manufacturer.
Right. Yeah. There's a very significant service agreement that you have to sign and have and
Can I
pay
ask
for
you how much this costs
per space,
per space?
per car.
Per space.
Yeah. Do you want to guess? You want me to tell you?
Do I want to guess? I would say
No, per car.
per car.
Per car.
Should I guess?
I'm gonna say
50,000.
90.
I was close.
Yeah. It's an
100.
outrageous amount of money.
You said 100, but you went over, so I win.
It's significant. It's a significant amount of maintenance, and we're doing this because this is the solution to. If we did a self-park garage, there were other ramifications of cost and design which were really set us back. You know, that's one of the reasons we came back in our previous version to say we can't have as much parking. And that's a whole long story. But this is our solution to the parking problem. This is one solution.
You won't have people taking up 2 spots.
Pardon me?
You won't have people taking up 2 spots or parking in a,
Crooked.
crooked,
Right,
or
right.
digging a door.
And also, I think one of the things that is interesting is when it comes to handicap parking. Every parking is a handicap parking.
Right, that's true.
So you're going to have 30 whatever units of handicap parking.
Yeah. The other building, the West building, has a
What?
different kind of system.
We should ask Everfresh to pay for it.
Will there be any charging stations on the property?
Yes,
How many?
yes. There's at least 15. There will be charging stations in the in the north garage, which is a self-park. In each garage, I'll just put it that, I could just rattle them off. But in each garage, there'll be charging stations, including on the automated parking, which is an option that you have to we buy, which I'm not sure how it works, but you can buy it as an option as part of your automated system.
And then it automatically charges it?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, because this is the way of the world. I mean, i.e., Tesla.
But it's interesting that how it can actually put the plug into the car.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll send it to you.
Are the vehicles locked in the garage?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I don't think anyone in their right mind would try to get in there and steal one from there. You know, I don't know where you would go. It's like stealing a car on an island.
I was gonna say it's like trying to retrieve your ball at a bowling alley.
Yeah, that's the wrong place to go to steal someone's car. So the second system in the
And I'm
west.
sorry, one question.
Mhm.
You will charge for those charging stations,
Oh, sure.
or is it free? For
Pardon me?
Is it free for the tenants, or
No,
you charge?
no. The charging systems are. I've done some research into it. It's you buy like a debit card and you.
Yeah, no, I know how it works.
So
There's
you're
really
buying
no-
a system that's gonna do all this.
Correct.
And they're
Yeah, I
gonna
mean,
char-
because
and they're gonna charge them pay rent.
yeah, it's,
Abraham, if you go
Yeah.
back, to the site, go down when you're on that first screen.
On the product or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Products. Okay, down to the left, the semi-automatic is another option for some of the garages.
so this is the system that we're going to use in the west garage, which is also a person. Well, you can watch the video.
And as you can see, these are systems that are in use, and they've been in use throughout the country.
Actually, we're designing the system in a number of buildings. It really maximizes capacity. They call this a puzzle system. It's sort of a Rubik's Cube of parking.
What's the history of these breaking down?
Every day.
No, I'm being serious, Paul.
Well, I think like anything else, there's maintenance concern, but we sign a very, as Steve asked, there is a very significant maintenance agreement. It's monitored 24/7 on video and through their central station in their office in New Jersey. They have technicians who are in and around the New York area who service these systems. And as I was said before, I don't want to be involved in a system that breaks down, so we're doing a ton of research, because if one building got a bad reputation, people wouldn't move into that building. So I'm the most motivated person out there to make sure this thing works.
No, I said, what is the history?
Well, that's the only history I have.
So you don't know if this has been a problem with,
I think my answer is no more, no less than anything else breaking down.
because then you're stuck. You can't get your car.
So that's true, but that happens with any technology. Listen, we have moved from paper charts to computer, and I tell you, one time we had the program shut down. 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We did about 45 minutes. Office filled with patients. We couldn't do anything. Absolutely nothing. You can't look at their appointments. You can't look at their labs. You can't look at their X-ray. You can't look at anything.
I'm
Ask
guessing.
everybody to go home.
I'm guessing that every point of this thing, this system, has sensors,
No, but I'm just saying.
monitors. They know when there's wear on any parts. They probably inspect it frequently.
Yeah.
I mean, they
It's-
can't afford. The company can't afford to have this breakdown, or there
No.
would be no company.
But the repair people are in New Jersey, correct? The
No,
technicians?
their headquarters, their central station is in New Jersey. They have technicians around the New York metro area servicing their systems.
And thank God for Uber.
Right.
I assume you're still gonna keep the garages in the back of the building as well?
Sure, every single one,
Garages.
every single one that we can.
They'll still go to the old apartments, or?
It just depends on if someone who lives there today is occupying that garage and they want to have that in the future when the project's done, they can have it. There will be many situations where you live, an existing resident lives in the south, we have and they park in the north, and we may have a new garage spot for them in the south. So it will be open for discussion, but they will have a parking space, or they can keep their parking space at the same rate.
Okay.
any other questions, we would ask this board to please vote approval of our amendment to this plan, to the site plan,
I just have
and
one,
permit us to start as fast as we can.
I just have one question. There was a picture when you were showing the external elevators, that one. You see how the roof looks pitched over there? I don't really understand.
No, it's
how-
a corner, I think.
you
Yeah,
see-
that upper portion is actually flat. That's the top of the elevator core. It's a little distorted. It's hard to see.
Yes.
That projection is on an
It
angle.
doesn't go up like it. This is the picture. It goes that way.
You're looking at
It
a
looks
corner.
like that. It's
It's an optical illusion.
Look
it's
now.
not- it's an
This
illusion.
corner. You see now?
It's like it's like this. You're
Oh,
looking at it
Look
like
what
this.
Abraham's pointing to over there. This is the corner that you're looking at.
I see, okay.
It just looks that
Okay.
way. No, you're right. I thought that way also, but then I realized. That
Okay.
One thing I'd like to just add to the record, is we still need to get, Nassau County Fire Marshal approval for this site plan.
Right.
That will be required.
Thank you for that. You're absolutely correct. And this will all be fire compliant.
Mayor, if the board is inclined to entertain a resolution of approval, I can.
Yes.
Good evening. Is it appropriate for me to speak to the board at this
Yes.
point? Okay, my name is Edward McCarthy. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Ingerman Smith LLP. We're attorney of record for the Glen Cove School District. And I'd just like to say good evening to the mayor, Mr. B, who I know, and the village trustees. I just wanted to initially introduce myself. The purpose of my appearance tonight is to initially address the village's consideration of the revised site plan for the 240-250 Mill Neck Road application and the proposed Millbrook apartments. We know, as has been presented tonight, that in August of 2018, the Village of Great Neck approved 101 new living units within 3 buildings at the site. It's my initial understanding that the updated site plan slated for consideration this evening and after being presented this evening does call for largely the reconfiguration of the physical site to include demolishing pre-existing buildings and constructing additions to also pre-existing buildings. It's my understanding that the apartments, if approved tonight, will contain 302 bedrooms with at least 186 living units. From the outset, and unfortunately, my client, the school district, did not receive any actual or courtesy notice of tonight's modification
Can I
to the.
just ask for clarification?
Sure.
You said Glen Cove School District?
Great Neck.
Thank you.
said Glen Cove.
Oh, I misspoke. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I misspoke.
Figure out what Glen Cove
I'm sorry. I apologize for that. From the outset, and unfortunately, the Great Neck School District received no actual or courtesy notice of the village's consideration of the updated site plan this evening. In fact, representatives of the district only learned about tonight's agenda item via Facebook on Monday, March 14th. As such, the district has not been afforded sufficient time to properly assess and to investigate the updated site plan and to ascertain the impact of the proposed apartment complex on the district's present 2022 and beyond educational mission. We understand that it was approved in 2018, but obviously things have changed in the world and things have changed for my client, the school district, since 2018. I can't speak to the nature of the relationship between my client and the applicant going back to 2018, but since this modification has been proposed and upon information and belief, I don't believe the applicant has reached out to the school district to ascertain what impact, if any, this application or the modification of the site plan will have on the district's educational mission. So what I'd like to say here tonight is that obviously a project of this magnitude will have an impact, at least somewhat and minimally, on residents obviously who live in that particular apartment complex now, and in residents and people who traverse up and down that avenue. Additionally, there's district property in close proximity to the proposed building site, and we would hope for some sort of open line of communication between the applicant and the school district to ascertain and to prevent and mitigate any disruption to the district's educational process. So I introduced myself tonight basically just to really fully preserve and reserve the right of the district to fully investigate and prospectively present any of its concerns to this board or to the county of Nassau in regards to the modification to the site plan. And I guess I would just have one one question of council, and that is whether or not there was any type of notice requirement to properties in that surrounding area in regards to this modified proposed site plan.
No, I don't believe there were. And again, it's my understanding that this does not change the density of the project as it was approved back in 2018 and amended in 2019. So there are no, the alterations don't change the population in any meaningful way. They don't change the density. So therefore, I'm not sure what impact there could be beyond the project in its original approval state. But that impact was already the subject of a CEQA determination back in 2018. So I don't think that a reconfiguration of the building heights will necessarily alter any population addition to your school district.
So at this point in time, I guess my question to the board is that you're not deeming this as a material change to the site plan.
That is correct. The
Okay.
building superintendent has determined this is a non-material change to the site plan.
Okay. And would this modification to the site plan have any impact on any type of incentives that are flowing to other municipal jurisdictions via the IDA at this point in time or not?
Could you clarify your question? I'm not sure what you
Well,
mean
my
by
question
that.
was, I was under the belief, and maybe it's a question for council, that there was some sort of approval issued by the Nassau County IDA for this project at some point in 2018. My question would be, would this type of modification to a pre-existing approval modify anything that was previously approved at the IDA by Nassau County?
I just don't remember off the top of my head whether or not there was an IDA approval on this, Paul.
There is an IDA approval.
Okay, and did we enter into a village services agreement in connection with that?
Yes, we did.
Okay, then yes, there already is an existing village services agreement and IDA decision.
Okay.
Do you believe, I still don't understand what the issues at this time. Do you believe that it's moving an apartment from north side to west side is going to increase or decrease number of students?
Well, to be honest with you, Mr. Mayor, we didn't know what the nature of the modification was because we never received proper notice. We were not aware of this modification, but for social media postings. So the district
Wasn't this posted last? Didn't we discuss this 2 weeks ago?
I don't know the date of the posting on the website, but the agenda has been posted on the website. I don't know the first date. But assuming for purposes of this conversation that the applicant's representation that this is a change in building height and the facade look, but not a change in the density, do you anticipate any concerns on the part of the school district?
Well, I think I'd have to bring back the information I gleaned tonight from the applicant back to my client, and I would allow them to be presented with the nature of the modification, and then they could answer as a board going forward. However, we were not fully aware of the nature of the reconfiguration. I know that some people had indicated that there were going to be additional units added. That is not the case.
I think you should stop listening to the social media.
And it's also, well, we're not listening to social media. My client was informed of the nature of this application and
From the
nothing
social
else.
media.
From Facebook, yes.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of fake news on Facebook.
So the only other question I'd have for the applicant was whether or not the number of bedrooms have increased within the actual project.
I was told no.
Yeah, to my knowledge, they have not increased, no.
Plans that I've seen reviewed before? No.
Okay. And I would just, one more question with the deferring to the board is whether or not there was any pre-existing conversations or meetings with the school district back in 2018 about the nature of this project.
The school district certainly made its opinion known at the IDA.
But not in terms of the village approval?
I don't know whether or not, the district was certainly notified as we reached out through the CEQA to the fire, water, sewer, and also the school district I don't want to say for sure without rechecking my file, but generally speaking, the school district would say it's our obligation to educate all the children who come into our district, and that's the letter, if you get any response, that we would get. It's only recently that the school districts have been coming to these hearings and raising issues.
Well, I think the reason why they're raising issues is to ascertain whether or not there's any impact.
It might have been the tax cap that caused that.
Okay.
But
Thank
I
you.
think the message you can carry back, if I may, and I'll stand to be corrected if I'm in error, is that this is a reconfiguration of the space that does not change density, does not change the number of bedrooms, and the board, as far as I know, sees no change in impact on the school district.
Okay.
And also, the entire project is below allowable density, and has always been.
Right.
Okay.
So I think one of the messages.
I wasn't here in 2018, so
Right, I know.
I'm here on behalf of my client.
They were?
I'll bring that information back to
Right,
my
I think
client.
one of the other things you have to you have to also send another message to them that because it's below the density, even if they were going to build to the max, it's as of right. The number of the units are as of right. So there's nothing that the village or anyone could do to prevent them from building as of right, except maybe not allowing them to build a fourth story, but that is not increasing the density. And correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, sir. I think the discretionary decisions, as I recall, were 2 feet of additional height beyond the base building code. You always have discretionary approval over architectural design, discretionary approval over site plan. But with respect to the density, there's been no change since the 2018, and I think you're correct that that would have been as of right.
Okay. I'll take that information back to my client, and
Thank you, Ed.
we'll proceed accordingly.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Are we allowed to ask questions of public?
I guess. Is this a public? I guess you can.
At the discretion of the board.
Yes, you can ask questions.
Just very quick.
Yeah.
Gene, do you want to come up to the mic so everybody?
I'm really considering it. I'm going to tell that to you.
No, it's just 2 quick questions. Why do they need a shuttle bus when the bus stop is right outside these buildings that goes every 20 minutes to the station?
Are you against the shuttle bus?
I've never used one. I use the
Right.
public transportation.
Right. So
I just wondered why.
Right. So one of the things that came up was that the reason many people don't like to take the buses is because it has multiple stops, and instead of them
Okay.
getting to where they want to get as quickly as
Okay.
possible, they don't want to get on. So this way we can decrease the traffic by people using the shuttle.
Fine. And how many days of the week are they going to be working on this project?
I
Is
don't
it Monday to Friday? Are they going to work Saturday? Are they going to be working on Sunday?
That has to do with the building department and what
Monday to Friday. Okay.
they're
This-
not working on Saturdays, right? No. Okay. Any other questions? Okay.
If the board wishes, I can provide you with a proposed resolution that would read as follows. Whereas the Board of Trustees has previously approved an application of North Shore Millbrook LLC for certain demolition and construction at 240-50 Middle Neck Road, including the A, grant of permission to demolish 34 units at the site, B, construction of 110 new units, C, architectural design and site plan, D, 110 stall parking waivers, though subsequently amended, E, additional 2-foot above base zoning as an incentive grant to a height of 44 feet for certain portions of the site, and F, a 4th floor, also above base zoning as an incentive grant, all by resolution of the Board of Trustees on August 17, 2018, and subsequently amended on July 16th of 2019. And whereas the applicant has now submitted an application to further amend the site plan, architectural design, and building heights, all pursuant to plans now on file with the building department and deemed by the building superintendent to not constitute a substantial change, and whereas such plans include arrangements for automated parking, and whereas the applicant has made further representations at this meeting of the Board of Trustees Now, therefore, it is all of which are incorporated into this approval. Now, therefore, it is resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby grants the requested amendment with respect to architectural design, site plan, and change of building heights, all as shown on the plans currently on file with the Building Department, inclusive of supplemental automated parking. Is there a motion to that effect? Moved by Trustee Hope. Seconded by Trustee Kashi. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it unanimously.
Thank you so much, we appreciate it.
Good luck, guys.
When is work starting, Jason?
June 6th.
And I'm hoping that we're not gonna get another June 6th. We're starting June 6th.
June 6th.
And we have all the connection, the sewer, the water, everything's,
Everything was, the sewer was brought into the property, the water was brought into the property. Electric wasn't needed because we have sufficient capacity. I think as Paul said before, we're totally vacant as of this coming weekend, which was a process, and we're ready to roll.
okay, good luck.
Okay, thank you so
All right,
much.
Bye-bye.
Oh, I got it. But I'll be.
Thank you again, have a nice evening.
Good night. So I'm just going to ask again for those who are listening to please, if you have questions, do not just go on Facebook and read people's posts. Most of those posts are misleading and incorrect. You can call the Village Hall and speak to Abraham O'Brien, or you can send us messages and we can get back to you. But please, again, these messages that are misleading do nothing but create havoc and misunderstanding, as we just saw today. All right, next item.
All right, the next item is a request for a parade for this Thursday, starting at 10:30 and going through 1 o'clock. This is the map. If you just give me, I'll try to turn it around if I can.
10:30 to 1 o'clock?
Yeah. Are they going like 1 mile an hour?
You know, it's going to be a float. I spoke to them. It's going to be a float that will be starting at Young Israel. It will be going north through
Young Israel on
Melnick Road. It's going. That's in Carmel Road, down in the town, outside of Greenock Plaza. And it will going north towards Steamboat till going to make a left on Steamboat, going through Wood Road, making another left to Arundel, crossing Arundel into Polo Road down to Old Mill, making a left again on Old Mill and returning to Young Israel.
Do they contact the schools?
Right, they're passing by the school.
So I brought up this issue with them, and I told them that they have this issue that they need to request for a waiver from that code, and they said that they're trying to plan it in a way that they get to the school when the school is not in session and they have a break for lunch. So they are not doing.
They're passing the village school. They're passing the middle school. They're passing the high school.
Well, not the
How
middle
could
school.
they? What?
Going down Steamboat.
No, but they go down Polo. You go through.
Go back to the.
west.
Wood
You
but
go
they're going
to-
straight to Steamboat.
No, if you look, they go down
You go
Steamboat, then up
Wood Road.
then up Wood to
Arundel,
Polo.
Polo.
So they're passing 3 schools. I don't know how. Yeah, village school is on Middle Neck Road.
I mean, it depends on the time. I don't know how they're in
10:30, unless they're having lunch at 10:30.
10:30 at 10. Who's having lunch at 10:30?
Lunch is 11:45.
No,
But I'm saying, do
no,
you
but they
think?
start leaving at 10:30. You're saying about the noise that they're creating? I mean, I don't mind them going unless they. I mean, I don't know.
Were they blasting music or is it?
But
Yeah,
it's
did
also
you speak to them about
traffic.
music?
I think they are blasting music.
Yeah.
The Chabad trucks that go down there?
No, I don't know. I don't know who.
NCSY.
It's NCSY.
And they gave us 2 days' notice.
So they're going on the eastbound, or northbound, I should say. They're going northbound on the east side of the street. They go up, and then when they're coming down, they're passing actually right by the school.
I assume they're going straight up.
Let me. Is it is it possible for them to change the direction instead of going from Polo, go on Maple?
Gonna go Maple.
How are they gonna? Oh,
Don't go down Maple.
Why, Maple's a nice road.
It takes
Please
it
don't.
takes
They're gonna be
5
gone
minutes.
and they're gonna be gone in 5 minutes.
It's gonna be more than 5
5 minutes, then why is it
And
going
we have
from
a doctor's
10:30 to
appointment to
1?
go to and
No,
come
no,
back
but to
from,
pass
so.
one point is 5 minutes.
No, that's not.
Doctor's appointment to go to. We
What
gotta
is
get
it?
that- We have a doctor's appointment to go to. We have to get out of the driveway and back home. Actually, we have 2, I think, on Thursday.
Just gonna be so people walking.
do you want them to just go up and down Middle Neck Road?
So I don't know why they have to go on Polo.
They're trying to make it, apparently trying to make a circle. That's all they're
No,
doing.
so why is it that they can't go and then go on Arundel, come back to Middle Neck Road and go down? This way you're bypassing schools.
Well, the whole idea I think is to get the schools, the kids come out.
Alright, go back home.
Could
You want the
Well,
kids to come out in the middle of school?
No, in the lunchtime to see it. Maybe
It's
they
not
get in some-
lunchtime, though. I don't know what time it is.
Go to
It's going from
uh,
10:30 to 1 o'clock,
It's gonna be,
which it's going extremely
Yeah,
slow.
and there's construction
did
on
this
Middle
while the
Neck Road
council was
right
here.
now. I mean, I have trouble parking if I have to go to the post office. I don't understand how, in fact, there is no parking on Middle Neck Road in certain areas.
Why don't they continue down Arundel to East Shore Road?
West Shore Road.
And they have to
Not East Shore.
ask-
West Shore Road.
West, I mean, West Shore Road, Bayview.
Then they have to go
I
to
think they
Kings
can
Point,
find
Village of
school.
Kings Point.
They have to pass through Saddle Rock and Greenwich Estate.
And Saddle Rock and-
Greenwich Estate is not going to give them.
I mean, that is going to actually be the least disruptive.
Maybe why don't you have them go all the way to the end of the Middle Neck Road and then make a U-turn and come back? Or don't approve it.
Hey, listen, I don't want to not approve it, but, you know, but I think I don't know how it's going to affect the schools during the session.
I mentioned
And there's
that.
construction on
you've
Middle
got
Neck Road.
rotating lunch periods at schools though.
Yeah,
So it's not like everybody leaves from 12 to 12:30.
Yeah,
it's gonna
you know,
disrupt classes.
I don't know. I mean,
And
I
if
wish
you're
they were
past
here so
that
they could
long
explain
term.
how this is going to. I mean, I rather for them to just be in one, or maybe go to, if they don't want to go make a U-turn, maybe they just go
Go
up,
to Station Road.
go to Steamboat Road.
No, let them go to Station Road. Go up Allenwood, make a left by the park, go to.
There's no schools there.
There's no schools.
Do they want to go
Yeah,
by? There is
that's the
what
problem.
they
They
want to
want
go to the
schools.
schools.
Did they
Obviously.
contact the school to ask? Okay, so if they
We
didn't
can't
contact
approve
the
this.
school, how are we gonna?
They're coming to the board to ask for a waiver and a
I mean,
parade.
they're coming to the board 2 days before the ask.
Kill it.
I mean, I don't mind if they go up, go to Steamboat Road, come down Wood Road, make a left in Arundel, and then go down on Middle Neck Road, and just turn.
Continue south on Middle Neck Road?
Yeah.
You do have construction on Middle Neck Road though.
There's a lot of construction.
Yes, but the thing is,
No,
it's
the county-
one. Huh?
Well, it depends on what they're doing.
No, the county said they're going to accommodate.
But this doesn't go to anywhere else. It comes to us. Not if they go that way and come down.
I said they go
in front of the
to
beach.
Station
They're
Road.
not- What?
Send them to Station Road.
They want. I'm sure they're doing this for people to see.
Don't-
They're not. They don't want to go to.
So do it at 4 o'clock.
I don't know what they're doing.
Is it one truck driving? How many?
One float.
One float.
There's gonna be one truck driving. They can do that.
I mean, one, I have an idea.
Drive and drive.
I have an idea.
20 times around.
You can have a Hawaiian dancer.
So now they have to-
I don't know. I don't think that,
We approve it subject to the school approving it.
They give us 2
Well, the
days.
school's not gonna approve it.
Then
no, but I don't understand. This is not.
But you
I'm
can
sorry,
tell
but
them
this
where
is
to
not-
go, or don't give
Right.
them.
If they start driving, I mean, I don't know. Is there any reason they even have to ask permission to drive?
No, no, Mayor,
They're
look at the,
driving a
Mayor, look
truck.
at what they're asking to be.
They're seeking waivers from different provisions of the code.
Oh, that's the question. So what are
There's a
that
steady
is?
noise that they cannot have during the day, and then also they have to be, there's a village code 391-2H that does not allow any noise outside of the public schools during the classes when they are
Right.
in effect.
So they shouldn't go by the schools.
That's what they are coming to the board to ask for
But they
waiver
can't.
from
Right.
this.
No,
I
no, it's
understand.
our code that prevents them from making noise
I
in front of the public
understand,
school.
but the thing is, the reason we have the code is because we don't want to disturb the
Right.
schools. So I don't
So you
understand
could just tell
why
them
they
no.
have to go to the schools. Why can't they just go up, make a turn, come back down, and that's it?
Because it defeats their purpose.
Probably it's NCSY.
And this is for
It's
this Thursday.
geared
I wish
toward
somebody
Jewish
was here
kids.
for me to. I mean, I need.
Did anybody come from from NCSY to speak to us?
Um, uh, she emailed back and forth to me, and I pointed out these codes to her, and I said these are that you're going against these codes.
But she didn't even bother to come,
She asked if she should attend.
and she chose not to.
Do they have to have the music, or they can do without a music? Is it possible to just not go? I understand that that's what they want to do, so we can tell them if they go. Go back to that map, please. I thought this was going to take 2 seconds. It's taking longer than Millbrook. If they go up north and go to Steamboat Road, make a left, come down Wood Road, make a left on Arundel, come to Middle Neck Road, and go all the way down.
Okay, I can tell them that's the route that the board
Then
approved.
that's going to be the least disruptive to school, because I'm not so worried at that time that there's going to be so much traffic that it's going to really disrupt the traffic. And from what I'm hearing, it's going to be raining on Thursday anyway. Let me just check. And if it's raining,
Have you driven by the post office?
Yes, it will be 87% chance of rain.
what?
87%
Right,
chance
so
of rain on Thursday.
it's not going to be that people are going to be coming out. So if they want to do it, then and they do it this way, it's going to be the least disruptive. I don't think there's going to be so much traffic. I am okay if they go Arundel, come down and all the way, and then go to wherever they were going to. They're going to end at Temple Bethel.
No, they're going down all the way back to.
Oh, this is only our
Young
village.
Israel,
Right.
going by Temple Beth.
And then you're gonna pass village school twice.
We're going to pass village school
No, no.
twice, but you
Oh,
know,
if they go up and
if they
down.
go up and down. But that, you know, I think the amount of time they're going to spend by that, it's going to be very short. So I don't really mind personally if they go up and down. To go through by the school in that area, and it's just passing through Old Mill, Beach, I think.
Old Mill is also only one lane, and it's also.
Which one?
Old Mill Road is one way, and it's a very heavily trafficked.
But they're not going to Old Mill.
If you change the, if you change the route, they're not going to be
Right.
going
So
on
that's
Old
what I'm
Mill.
saying. I think it's probably better to go that way.
Okay, so I'll tell them to make a left on Wood and then another left on Arundel all the way through
And
to
then
Middle
go
Neck Road and make a
down.
right on the Middle Neck Road,
Right.
continue on the south side.
Right, because I don't think, I really don't think anyone's going to be outside anyway. If it's going to be 87% chance of rain. Are you guys okay with that?
I don't think it's right that they're not here. They want it so badly that they're not even coming to discuss this issue.
So I mean, listen, I don't think they thought that it's going to be a big what?
I think they're just gonna get in the building door, you don't give them the permission.
But then why is it 2.5 hours? It's 2.5
Just gonna go
hours.
around. It's gonna catch
Just
maybe
keep going back and forth?
Yeah.
Like
I've seen
in
that done
Anderson?
before. I've seen it in the city, I've seen it in Manhattan, I've seen it a lot. Just go around, keep circling around, circling around, circling around. They keep stuff out of it, people come to it, sing and dance, all that stuff.
That's Chabad.
If it's,
That's Chabad style.
but this is not Chabad.
No,
That's
no,
not
but that's
Chabad.
what he's,
That's Chabad style.
that's the model.
And then more people join it.
I don't, listen, again, it's raining. I don't think anyone's going to be joining.
They'll be in their cars. You know what happened at Parkwood that
Nobody,
time?
Uh,
Nobody's doing this.
I
This
think
is
this
Thursday?
this
This is on
is
Thursday?
Thursday.
It's just a parade.
It's a float.
It's
Yeah,
a
I-
float of one.
Nobody's
It's
joining.
a lot of St. Patrick's Day people
Nobody's
getting
joining
in
us in
their
their cars. They're all going to be around delivering
Right.
packages to people.
I-
Tell me it's St. Patty's Day parade.
It's absolutely.
St. Patty's is also Thursday?
Wednesday.
When? It's tomorrow.
It won't be
No,
around.
Wait, they
St.
can't do
Patty's
that.
is tomorrow.
Purim is
Wednesday.
Thursday.
No, it's not. It's a day different.
No, today's the 15th.
Tomorrow is the 16th.
St. Patty's 17th.
Oh, okay, so it's the same.
Mayor,
They'll,
just-
they'll go in the parade in the city.
Mayor, the clauses from which they're asking exemption would allow them to use a drum, loudspeaker, or other device for the purpose of attracting attention to a performance, show, or sale, mechanical loudspeakers or amplifiers on trucks for advertising or other purposes, and the use of apparatus which produces a level of music, talking, or other sound which is measured by a certain standard, adjacent or neighboring building in excess of certain standards. So they're seem to be asking to play loud music, use loudspeakers, and create electronic sounds.
I mean, we can ask them to not play the music when they're passing by the school. Everywhere else, I don't think it's going to be a big deal.
There actually is
Gene,
no.
It's one day. Okay? It's 1 hour. I
Not
don't
even
think it's
1
a big
hour.
deal. It's 2 hours, whatever it is.
No, it's not.
What?
It just passes like.
Yeah, it just passes. It's not. I don't think listen. I don't want them to disrupt the school because it's just, kids as is. They can't. They don't. They have
You can then.
attention span of 5 minutes.
You can approve a route, this route or any other route. You can also waive the loudspeakers, etc., but you could not waive the making of those noises as they pass by a school.
Right. So I think that's what we would do. And if they're not going to play loud music, we can't even tell them to keep their thing. But I still say the board is okay. Just go through Arundel, go down, and that's it.
How are you going to stop them using the loudspeakers?
Oh, it's going to be Wood Road making a left on Arundel, continuing straight to Middle Neck Road, making a right on Middle Neck Road toward the south, and continue to the end of the route. And they have to turn down the music when they pass.
How are you going to stop them anyway?
They're going to use the loudspeakers, you know it. That's the whole idea. They're
Well, I
very
think,
loud.
I believe in the goodness of people. I don't know. You're right. Maybe everyone's evil, but I don't think that's the case here. So,
Is there a resolution to grant a permit for the parade under the proposed route, but not waiving Section 391-2 Subdivision H regarding music in proximity to schools, but otherwise allowing the parade and the route?
I would say probably change the route to Arundel and then go south.
And that would be a Wood Road left on Arundel going down towards Middle Neck Road, at which point there would be a right turn to go south to the end of the route.
Right. I think that's preferable route. Yeah. Motion? Okay, and please make sure that they turn down the music when they're passing by the village school.
I will be in contact with them.
All right, thank you. Aye.
I heard it.
Okay.
The next item is a proposal for electrical work at 15 Nirvana Avenue. Currently, the pole, apparently someone hit it, it fell down. They're replacing it with a fiberglass pole, and it's going to be $1,480.
So we don't catch these people when we don't know who hit it. And that's why I think we need really cameras in pretty much everywhere now. With what's going on with the crime and also the accidents. We had how many? I mean, since I've been a mayor, we had how many?
A whole bunch of them
15?
on that. This week there was another accident.
Poles on Middle Neck Road the other day.
Right. So they keep hitting these poles. I don't know how they drive. They're sleeping.
That one we got the accident from.
Brewer Avenue and Middle Neck Road, there was a car accident that took down one of the poles. and that one we do have an
That
accident.
one we did get an accident report from the police.
All right, and I really do believe that the insurance companies should pay. I don't think why the taxpayers should pay for this.
To the extent that we could go after them, we do go after them. However, if somebody is hitting, it's a hit and run.
So that's why I know that's one of the discussions I had with Commissioner Pat Ryder, that we are thinking of having plate readers um, just for security purposes. And one of the things that came up was maybe having cameras. And there are other places that do have these cameras for security, and I think it's a worthwhile investment to discuss it. They don't have cameras; they have
Plate
they
readers.
have plate readers.
There's one
Cameras.
on the Hicks Lane, right? Going down.
Well, there are a bunch of
Every
Every
entrance to the
right, but
King's
they
Point
have
has.
plate readers. So what the plate readers, from what I've learned, is that it actually takes a plate and it sends a message as a text. It's not a video. The videos, they actually see, I think hold the information of the video of what car, which color, and it's very interesting. They can actually say a white Mazda. They don't even have to give the plate number. A white car, and it gives if you have the camera, it gives you all the white cars that pass that number, and then
Because
they
get
can,
it from the registration.
right?
Yeah, they get it from the registration.
Right. It's very interesting.
The village of Kings Point has two big screen TVs when you come into the police station, and the dispatch is sitting there we're watching them.
All the cameras. All right. Okay. So probably
But
they
they
have the
also
video.
have the plate readers as well.
Right. So they probably do. Okay. So we'll discuss the cameras anyway, but I think on a different note. But I think that's what. Okay.
Is there a motion to approve the proposal as presented?
Also move.
It's moved
Second.
and seconded. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
It's passed unanimous. Thank you. The next item is a IMA with Nassau County to purchase speed radar signs. Just want to mention these are just speed radar signs. They are not cameras. They're not taking pictures. Rather, it just takes the
We're not
attention.
giving tickets. We're not in bad financial, position to need money from revenue for these tickets. So please stop spreading false information. You know who you guys are. And if you're listening, please stop. This is just for, again, a safety reason for people to stop going fast. I know people still ask for speed bumps, especially by Brokaw. I think we've discussed it multiple times. These speed bumps, from what I have heard and what I actually have experienced, if you don't pay attention, you can lose control if you're going fast, and you can actually hit someone. And Lou, you told me that it actually makes plowing a lot more difficult and dangerous as well. So again, there are reasons that we're not putting these speed bumps. I hope that these speed radars that actually just take a picture.
No, they don't take a picture.
Not that take a picture. Take a
Reading.
reading of your speed and just display your speed to know how fast you're going can and will help. Studies have shown that help people slow down.
They're very effective.
So again, this is not for ticketing. Please make
No
note.
pictures.
No pictures.
Either solar power.
Solar
or-
panel.
Solar power.
We just have to make sure. One of the things they asked, we have to make sure when it snows. Usually those solar panels,
Yeah,
actually,
I
they
never
don't.
had to clean them off. They just
They melt.
Yeah, they just melt right
It's
off.
warm because the solar panels get a little bit warmer.
No, all the ones that we put up, I haven't had any issues with any of them solar panels.
Yeah.
They clear themselves.
Yeah, no,
out.
you're right. With the stop signs we have, they
I
work
haven't
great.
had any issues with them.
They're great.
15. So
15.
let me just show you what it's going to look like.
Yeah.
The other ones,
Don't worry.
Mayor,
Don't worry.
Mayor, the other ones we had issues with because the batteries didn't last so long. So
Right.
they
The
were-
one before we had. The one that's still sitting somewhere by, what is this, Hicks? Or is it
I
by
think it's on
Fairview?
now.
I think we
But
should
those
just
I can never keep the batteries.
just take it away.
They only, it's just a
We
couple
should
of
put
days
one
and
there when
that's
we
it.
get. Right, I know.
Mayor, if you want to just look at what we come into agreement with the county, this is how it's going to look like.
Is
One
that the
moment.
guy who's going to put it up?
This is basically the battery backup. And okay, so it has. You could actually control it, and then you could actually have the app, and then it shows exactly the speed, and then the speed can be it's three different color. So if somebody's going too fast, it's going to be flashing in red. If they're going, and they can actually show some messages on the screen as well. If they're going, accordingly within the speed limit, it's going to be green, as you could see. Well, that's a kilometer, that's not miles. And then, as you could see at the bottom, it will show maybe a like slow down or danger or vicinity of school, that we can actually program what we wanted to show. So it's very well because it's it's I don't know if it's a Canadian. It's I don't know. It's not a Canadian company, but they have the exclusive sales in United States.
The ones that I've seen, they don't look like this. But this is what it's going to look like?
This is what it's going to look like.
This is better.
Much better.
Yes, because it has three colors. It's not monochrome. This is exactly that's what it will look like. Here it is.
Very nice.
Each one of them is about 2,800.
How much do the other ones cost?
I'm sorry.
How much do the other ones cost? I'm just curious.
They were more expensive.
They were.
They were, yeah.
This is less expensive?
This is less expensive, and it
These
seems
things
like,
have come down quite a bit in price.
and it's
When
more.
they first came out, they were crazy money, man. Now they've come
So
down.
this is the county.
these
This
feel
is
like
something
15,
county.
20,000.
Along with the county.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I just want to mention that we worked very closely with the new county legislator, Mazi Philip. I want to thank her for her concern for the community. I worked very closely also with her assistant, which she introduced us to what is called the Community Revitalization Program, CRP, and the entire amount is financed by them. It's 43,300. The IMA calls for that the village will install them, total of 15, and we promise that we are going to maintain them as well.
Okay. Again, thank you, Mazi, Philip, and the assistants.
Abraham, if I may, you mentioned that these are a sole source?
That is correct.
Because the IMA
that is correct.
calls for the usual competitive bidding process.
That is correct.
Which
I have
would
submitted
include
that to the county, and therefore county said we do not need to go through competitive bidding because it's a sole source.
Then may I recommend that the board pass a resolution declaring it to be a sole source and therefore exempt from competitive bidding. Is there a motion to that effect?
I move.
Moved by the mayor, seconded by trustee Hope. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Okay.
The next item is a request by American
Did
Legion.
we pass the IMA?
No, we did not actually.
We just passed
Oh,
the...
that was to allow to buy it.
Correct.
But, yeah,
Exactly.
sorry about that.
Does the board wish to entertain a motion to authorize the mayor to execute the IMA, the intermunicipal agreement, calling for the village to acquire these units and to be reimbursed by the county? Moved by trustee Hope, seconded by trustee Kashi. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Unanimous.
The next item is the request by American Legion to hold a parade on the Memorial Day. They forgot to put down the hour when they're going to start, so I'm going to ask this item to be please tabled till the
I
next.
think they usually start at 9. 9:30.
Well, they're starting at Hill Park Avenue at the plaza, going north through the village. So I don't know if you want to approve it pending whatever time it starts, or
It's the same time as we did before. I don't know if you want to table it. I would just...
Item on the agenda says 10:15.
I don't see the hour. Where do you see the hour, Peter?
On the agenda item, I don't see it on the letter, but here on the agenda item,
It says 10:15 through 11 p.m., but
11 p.m.
I'm sorry, 11 a.m. It's going to take more than 45 minutes to walk
Doing the wrong...
mile and a half.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
that I don't know where that come from. From last year, probably. The other letter. That is correct. So you want to table it, or do you want to pass it?
I would say we should vote for it.
We could confirm the time.
We could go for it, even though it says Greenock Plaza.
No, it
Well, they
starts
start
from
at Greenock Plaza,
Yeah.
but does not mention the village of Greenock either.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons I wanted to just have them submit it correct.
Yeah, we can have them submit it correctly, but I think we can approve it subject to.
Subject to
those
submitting the
corrections.
time.
Yeah. Yes, Peter?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is there a motion to approve the parade for American Legion on on May 30th? The timing to be TBD.
Are you approving, are you stopping the traffic in all directions on Middle Neck Road? Or in the
Well,
past, we've had that
I
craziness
remember
of
last time it was crazy because cars were driving south on
Right.
one lane.
Well, they got through somehow, but they weren't
But
supposed to.
I don't know. I don't know if I don't know what other villages are doing. I mean, in our village, we can do what we want to do, but I don't know what they're asking. Are they asking us to stop the traffic?
The letter is very vague, so that's why I would suggest to just table it for now to get some
But
clarification
they're
from
not
them.
even discussing because the police has to come in. Last, I did not like what
Because
happened last
we
time.
gotta put barricades on the cross streets so that the cars aren't coming out.
Right. I remember
Detours
last year cars were driving south. Not
right,
last
they
year,
were
2 years
going
ago.
south. 2 years ago.
2 years ago, cars were going south, and it was
There's
very
a little bit of
close.
madness out there.
Yeah, it was too close for comfort. So maybe you want to ask them what they've done with the police, or
I
they
think we need
expecting
more
us to do-
clarification regarding this issue
All right, we still
before
have
we can
time
pass it.
anyway. Okay, we still have time.
Okay, going
so
to
we can
table this till the
until-
next one.
Right, what they want to do. I think we should close the entire street and let them go from different roads.
I think that's the safest way.
Right.
'Cause
And
remember,
the
people-
nicest way.
Remember, people are standing in the street and they're crossing the street.
Yeah, it's much safer and much nicer also. Okay.
The next item is the request by Mr. Fuller, who is the chairman of the board, to appoint Mr. Rory Landsman as the alternate member of the planning board.
I move. Oh, well, I can't move. I have to.
I'm sorry? Alternate, yes, alternate for 1 year through July 2023. It's moved by the mayor.
I don't know if I can move. I think if I'm appointing him, I think somebody else has to move, right?
Your appointment is subject to ratification by the Board of Trustees.
So if I am appointing, other people have to move.
Yes, sir.
So,
It's moved by Trustee Hope,
Second?
seconded by Deputy Mayor. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
aye.
It's
Welcome
passed.
aboard and thank you for offering your services.
Very big dignitary
Yeah.
joining our board.
Mr. Landsman used to be a city council, as
State
well as
senator.
the
City
state
council.
senator,
And his
State
wife is a
senator.
judge.
right?
No, state assembly.
And his wife is the Supreme Court judge.
And we welcome them to the village of Great Neck.
Yes, they moved back in November. You're very aware of that.
Very aware.
And personally, he's a very nice guy. The next item is the request by, this is a tax cert that has been submitted to the village regarding 240-250 Middle Neck Road, which is Millbrook Apartments, which were here tonight. They are requesting, not they are requesting, they went to the court, they petitioned the court, and our attorneys, in conjunction with the assessor, have come up that it's better for the village to accept the petition and the stipulation to refund them $4,017 for 2021-22 taxes, as well as keeping the assessment flat at $9 million for year 22-23 and 23-24. Please remember that when they start construction, their value will go down. So by actually accepting this, we are actually protecting ourselves for the following 2 years.
They should have done this before they came in front of us.
Well, if they would have seen it, they would have asked probably not to.
Scratch that last
Right, right. I spoke to Mr. Gray from Mr. B's office, and he recommends passing a resolution to approve that.
Okay.
Is there a motion to pass the following resolution in front of you?
Moved.
It's moved by the Deputy Mayor, seconded by Trustee Hope. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
I just want to make sure that this is not a tax exemption. This is just.
It
what
is
they
not a
have
tax
done.
exemption, it's not a tax abatement.
No, I think we need to be very clear, unfortunately, in social media, that this is not a tax exemption, this is not a tax abatement, this is something that many of our buildings, unfortunately, have done. They go to court, and the court gives them the option to, not the option, but actually they decrease their assessment So and if they do that, then we have to give the money back. I'm sure they do the same thing with county and the state, the county and the school as well.
Residents do it, so not just.
Most likely, what?
It's not just businesses, it's residents even can do
The
the tax
residents do the
certs.
same thing. I mean, that's what they
The
do.
other option is to just go to trial, but the trials are extremely costly, and at the end of the
Right.
day, we might actually lose money on it.
So again, I just want everyone to understand this is not a tax exemption. Okay.
The last item on the agenda is to schedule 22-23 budget hearing for March 5th at 7:45 p.m.
April 5th.
I'm sorry, April 5th. April 5th at 7:45 p.m. Just want to mention that we have through April 20th to hold the budget hearing, and the budget has to be passed by May 1st, or the tentative budget becomes final budget if we do not hold another meeting, or if we do not pass the budget at the April 5th meeting.
Okay.
Is there a motion to schedule the meeting for that night? It's moved by Trustee Hope. Seconded by Deputy Mayor. Please, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. It's unanimous. The next item are the minutes for March 1st meeting.
I'll move them.
I second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. It is unanimous. The last item is the abstract for this coming Friday, March 18th.
I have a couple of questions. Louis, the first one, what is the hydraulic,
Plow pumps,
what is it?
the plow pumps.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the pumps that lift the plow on the front of the truck.
Oh, I see, okay. Okay, that was one. The other one, was regarding, the Stumer bill. I was wondering what percent of the project is done? Do we
This bill has to do with only design of the interior of the building. I'm not sure exactly what percentage of it is done, but this is specifically for just the interior design of the building.
How much of their total,
Have been paid so far. I don't have the total in front of me, but I can. If you look at the second page, there might actually be showing how much, what percentage of the job has been done. The engineers show it. I'm not sure about the architects.
yeah, so it's, no, this is paid to date is this much. So if we bill to date is this much, if this was 26, it's going to be 99. Right, so if we pay this is going to be less than,
That would be about 40% of the
No.
entire contract.
it's, these bills is this much. This is
Oh,
paid,
paid, okay,
this
I
is
see.
how much is billed.
Oh,
if
so
we
a
pay
little
this,
less
it's going to be
than
9,
that, less than that.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
Yeah, that was exactly.
Okay, that was one, and, then there was something specific on this bill where I didn't understand the negatives.
The negative means that we have spent on their behalf and we are expecting them to reimburse the village.
So, because they're asking for a reimbursement on the other page, on this page, they're saying, well, we didn't rack up that amount, on the first page. It's someone who applied for, they're asking for, funds back from, so. I found the video somewhere.
No, trustee, if you look at the bottom of the page, you will see that, for example, they start at 2,500, for example, and
Well, the first page I thought was 5,000, and so they only used up about half, so they're asking for the 2,519.
2219, correct.
2219.
And then on the second page, as you could see, they started at 2,500, and they went negative to 1367, and then they submitted additional funds. So if you keep, actually, if you could, this is the running tally.
Right.
This is what they have submitted, and this is what we have spent on their behalf. So you could see that at the end of the day, they have paid everything to the village. You could see, for example, there's a check number for $497 that brings their balance to zero.
Oh, I see, okay. Okay.
So they do not owe the village. They have,
Okay. Just checking.
Yep.
Okay, I make a motion to accept the abstract.
abstract is moved and seconded. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Public,
I
public
just want
comment?
to say before we go to public comments, I wanted to give a really thank you to Brian. He joined us about 2.5 years ago, and he became really part of Great Neck. I want to wish him luck in his new position as the clerk of Mineola. That's a big jump. We really miss you, and wish you lots of luck. I'm sure the village of Great Neck will miss you as well. I hope you be in touch, continue, and really, you were an amazing addition, and we are not happy for you to leave. If I would have known, I would have called the mayor and given him some bad news about you, but unfortunately, I found out too late. But anyway, I wanted to thank you, and I think we enjoyed working with you. I hope you had a good time here as well. And don't be a stranger. If you change your mind, you want to come back, let us know. All right.
You just spoiled my evening. Why? How could you do this?
I know. You see?
Get him outside.
Maybe we can hire him part-time at night to do the tax roll.
Listen, you have to be. He's becoming a clerk of a big village. That's.
What happens? They all leave and go to the other
Well, if you become bigger village, maybe they don't leave. Maybe you're a small village.
It's all the stuff on social media.
You could wish it.
Great.
He is amazing, and
Yeah.
it's a natural progression.
Right.
I mean, you
We should go
just
take
call
over
him up
Kensington.
if you feel down and you
We should go
lift it
take
up
over
again.
Kensington and we'll
Listen,
go get
he's
Right.
amazing.
So you
Brian
see, this is
Brian
what happens.
amazing.
You see, you have to realize when people
But what
are.
we have to be, Gene, is happy.
But he is. He makes you happy.
No, but
No, I'm
we have
saying
to be
you should be happy for
him.
him. When he called me, he said, I have good news and bad news. I said, what's the good news? He said, the good news is that I've been offered a job as a clerk in Mineola. So what's the bad news? I'm leaving. I said, they're both bad news. I still have them a good news.
That's a true story.
It's a true story. But I still think they're both bad news, but I'm happy for you, really. I'm sure they're gaining.
You'll be hearing Brian's name in the future. He's going
Yes.
to.
Yes. He may be in it. Yeah. He may be in the next, you never know, state senator.
Having no meetings in the park. No meetings.
Nassau County.
Closer to the Mineola,
Right.
The county seat is in Mineola.
Right. Well, you never know. If you run for the Senate, you have my vote.
Maybe if they wish hard enough, Mineola will hire all of them.
Right. I know that you worked hard and you deserve your promotion. Public comments. David.
David Lenziger, 15 Beach Road. I had a couple of questions. Once again, has any of you reached out to HUD or anyone to get the Housing Authority complex grounds cleaned up? Because it's still a mess. And if you said it's a federal thing, why not a phone call or a letter to regional HUD and get the place cleaned up?
To which department? We've been reaching out.
HUD.
To HUD. So we have reached out to the Housing Authority via email, via phone calls, unfortunately, with no response to any of the calls or emails.
Have you called Congressman Swazi? You called the regional office of
we
HUD
did not
in Manhattan?
we did not contact HUD. No.
I saw some improvement on the property.
Yeah, there's been some stuff has been removed, but it's still a mess.
There's an individual in the building. I think he's in the building. Maybe he's not in the building, but he is putting out food all around the property.
I'm not talking about food, Mr. Trustee. I'm talking about litter and paper and all the detritus that's been there forever.
But leaving food out doesn't help if you're attracting raccoons or worse. So
Well,
yeah.
I mean, reach out to some and try to get it cleaned up because it's.
I don't think Congressman Swazi is going to have
He could
time
call
to-
HUD and he might have more yichus than you guys have, and it might help. I mean, just try to get it fixed up. Then I have another question. Hmm?
You want to just knock on their wall door and say, listen.
I don't know anything. Just call the super to the building. Just call
Well,
Victor and tell him you can't go through that.
But people keep.
You want to call, reach out to them because they're not responding to us.
Just give me the number.
Call Victor tomorrow. Try and call Victor.
Tell them we'll clean it and build it.
Or call him at the firehouse.
Yeah, they don't have money to pay. Okay. All right.
Then I had another question, and I'm glad Village Council is here. Is it correct that the lawsuit over the streetlights has basically been withdrawn and it's finally over?
Yes, it's over.
That's what I thought. And now to Public Works and our clerk, how are our streetlights doing? And have we had any particular problems or has there been any particular maintenance that we've had over this current winter?
Regarding lights,
Yeah, how are they doing?
doing well.
Great.
If we get a report that any of them are out, as you saw tonight, we'll send the crew out there to check them. If it needs to be fixed, they're fixed.
I think one of the things we need to mention also is the G5.
That's what I was just
Right.
mentioned right now. They're going to be shipped to the manufacturers to be upgraded from G3 to G4. 3G to 4G.
And is that going to increase the
speed of the
response?
The usage is so low anyway that we are not going to see any difference, but the difference between a 3G and a 4G and a 5G is just the speed of.
Well, sure, it's a tech upgrade.
Exactly.
Do
So
we know when
3G
that's
is
going to happen?
It's going to be removed tomorrow, and it's going to be overnighted to the manufacturers, and they should return it to us within 3 days, and we put it back together.
Very good.
Which will not affect the streetlights. The streetlights will still be operational.
No, I understand it, but if you have a tech upgrade,
Yep.
that's fine. And if they're doing well, that's also fine. But we haven't had a discussion about the streetlights in a long time.
No news is a good news.
Exactly, and that's a good thing. Then we've had discussions tonight about certain security things. So, for instance, when the 15 speed radars come,
15.
yeah,
Oh.
when are they? Where do you have tentative locations for them in the village?
Well, there's certain ones that are going to be on the county roads.
Yes.
And certain ones that are going to be on the village roads. So the locations, I don't think we have all the locations.
We propose to the county that 8 of them will be on county roads, 4 of them will be on the village roads. We
12.
7, I'm sorry, 8 and 7.
Right.
8 of them will be on the county road, 7 of them. We are thinking about Brokaw, we're thinking about North Road, we're thinking about Middle Neck Road.
Nirvana?
Not sure about Nirvana.
Should be Nirvana.
Baker Hill will get one. And we
Hicks.
received a request, Hicks Lane, Arundel. And we received also a request from the county DPW to put one in front of 320 East Shore Road because they keep requesting for traffic light there, and the county is refusing to put a traffic light or a stop sign because it's a major thoroughway.
Which one is this one?
This is across from Nirvana, not
No, the
Ravine.
Kings Point House apartment on the east side
East Shore
of
Road.
East Shore Road.
Where people complain that traffic moves too slow to get anywhere.
Actually, it's the opposite of it because you're saying that they're going too fast there, and the police
They're going too fast and too slow.
at the same
And
time.
it's a
the
county
same
road, and it's all our fault. Yeah, I get it.
And assuming all this happens, is there any idea for a time for installation of these speed radars?
So just to clarify, we have been approved to order them.
Correct, and it may take a
Right.
while. Do you have any
no,
idea?
wait,
Not
hold
yet.
on.
Not yet. This is a long and lengthy process that it could take 6 months to 1 year. However, they have been working diligently to get the funds to us sooner than later. We are hoping that within the next 2 months we could get the funding and then and
Well, there's a
approval
difference
to
of
order
getting-
them.
Right. So the thing is, first we have to get an approval. They don't have to pay us.
We
until
cannot
we
order
it.
them till the
Right, so
county
it takes
gives
2
us a
months to
green
order,
light.
right. I
Correct.
was told that it's not going to take long. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I know none of these things happens overnight, and because of the current supply problem, anything involving electronic components takes extra time now. I know that myself for certain equipment that I need and I simply can't get. Now, the mayor mentioned discussion about plate readers for cars and so on.
Right. But before we go, let me ask him. The ones that they're providing is bi-directional or just one direction?
The one that we are buying
Right.
is one direction.
So it's just either one. Okay.
So if we want to put on both direction, it's 2 out of the 15 that has to be used.
Right.
So we have to see. I mean, there are certain areas you have to put one on this side, one on that side.
If that's what you want, yes. If
No,
it's
so we're not going to get 30. Those 15
no, you're
that we get,
getting
we have to-
15. So I'm just curious where they're going to be, and this needs to be well thought out before they come.
Right.
But they're not coming tomorrow, so.
No, we have time.
And this whole idea of the license plate readers
Right.
is the concept that they would be at the entrances to the village, and you'd have some kind of what here.
So I tell you, this is not only for the village. I have had a meeting with all the mayors and also the county legislature, Mazi, and also legislator, and also commissioner. We had a bunch of meetings already about this. This is not only for the village because our village is not isolated.
Right.
We want to do whatever it takes to secure the peninsula. So this is going to be at the entrance of the peninsula. There are going to be different, I believe there were 24 or something like that, that the department was suggesting, and they have given the locations where they should go. The question is, are we going to just have plate readers, or are we going to have cameras? What kind of cameras? What kind of abilities these cameras going to have? All those things are being discussed. Obviously, something that I brought up to the county executive early on. He agrees because of the location of our peninsula and the geography of the peninsula that it's important to have, and I'm hoping that they're going to go through with this. Pretty much all the other mayors are in agreement. We just have to go step by step and get whatever it does. It needs to for us to get there. Right. So obviously, all these things are being done without costing our village taxpayers money. This is going to be paid hopefully by the county as well.
Is there any idea during 2022 if this will be completed, or is this some long-range thing?
You asked that question, and you're asking me, and I tell you, if it was up to me, I would have done it tomorrow. But it's not that
But you
simple.
can't do it tomorrow.
Right. So is it going to be 2022? Probably. It could possibly 2022. Again, it has not been. It has been discussed. It has been questioned. There are going to be other discussions to see exactly what technology and in what detail. There's some people that would like to have more security. Actually, there are places that have cameras that can recognize people and all that other stuff. Those are the things that have been discussed. I don't know where we're going to go with it, but they're all on the table for discussion.
Thank you.
Okay.
One quick comment. You asked me the other day about those signs on Second Road.
Right.
Yeah, they came in on Friday. I put them up today.
Oh, they're on. Okay. Hopefully they're
By
the
the
people.
way, there was a lot of cars on that street there, both sides.
So what my worry is that they're all going to park now the street next, one street up.
It's very steep. I mean, they have a lot to.
Well,
What?
there's
No, I'm
already-
not saying they're not going to park on.
There's
No,
already,
no, I'm saying if they have to park there and then walk back, it's a steep climb,
there's already signs on Fourth Road for no parking on
Oh, there is.
because that's a little bit narrower. Second,
And what if they go to Rose
they're probably gonna go up to Woolies Lane up on there.
or Woolies Lane or West Terrace?
They're probably
Can
gonna
they
stop
park on West Terrace? Parking is allowed on
They're
West Terrace.
already now. They're
So
already parked.
it's interesting we haven't gotten a complaint from people on West Terrace yet.
They may not park, there may not be as many that park there.
Well, if you're going to remove them from here, they have to go somewhere. And I think we really have to start enforcing the parking on East Shore Road. Okay.
Have we been collecting a lot more from?
When I was in it today, the parking enforcement did come up to Second Road, but we were there working, so they, I don't know if they went back later on in the afternoon, but I tell you, the whole street was lined with cars. If I had to get a garbage truck down there, it wasn't happening. That's how many cars were on the street. And the other thing was, the auxiliary police had asked me about a light across from 320 East Shore Road there, because a lot of people, park their cars there and go to the apartment building across the street. They can't park on
Say it
their
again. Where
side.
is this again?
By the Ravine Park?
By
Yeah,
Ravine.
by Ravine Park.
Okay.
They were requesting if we can put another light on one of the poles over there. I think she sent a letter.
Oh no. Street light.
The street light, yeah.
But isn't the power on the other side of the street though? If I remember correctly?
No,
that's
because
why
we have power on that one pole there. There's a couple of poles there by Ravine that are lit up.
She's talking about like on the cart, right by
Right by Ravine Park. But, the other thing that I was thinking too, when that was asked of me is, I think right now the lights are only at 40 or 60%. Maybe just turning them up a little bit might make a difference.
You see, the problem is that it makes a difference. These lights they're very angular, so you can actually light up one place. It just becomes brighter. It doesn't go. Hopefully, the ones that we're going to get for Middle Neck Road, we're going to remove all these lights and get the new ones. They spread more, so hopefully they're going to be different. And then we can use those lights and put them anywhere else. We're not getting rid of them. We can use the lights.
It looks like there's a light there. That's.
I think that may be Kings Point
The
light.
I think they were asking for the next pole up.
That's
And
not
that's-
us anymore.
that's still the village?
Which is still in our village.
So where's another one? Where's another pole? This is one. But there is one there.
No, this one has one.
Oh, I see.
Ah.
This one doesn't have.
So it's just before the.
The village limit is right.
Alright, listen. I like lights. Put them everywhere.
Me personally, I liked them when we first put them up and they were at full intensity, but I like light, so.
You remember what happened, right?
I know, my wife walks around the house, turn the lights on, off that I turn on. You're afraid of talking. I just don't want her to kill me when I'm not looking.
Any other comments? No? Okay. I guess we move to adjourn. Move to adjourn. I just wanted to wish everybody a happy Purim and
St. Patrick's Day.
And St. Patrick's Day, same day.
Obviously, the most important holiday of the entire year.
That's right. I don't know. Where's your tie?
Well, that'll be worn tomorrow.
Okay.